and honorable members and fellow Bermudians. Today I rise with great pride and gratitude to share with you the reflections of the work, the deliverables, and the initiatives that the Ministry of Youth, Social Development and Seniors has successfully delivered since its inception in October of 2020. Mr. Speaker, as the Minister of Youth, Social Development and Seniors, I have the honor and privilege of leading a team of dedicated and passionate professionals who work tirelessly to make a positive difference in the lives of thousands of Bermudians every day. We serve with compassion, with integrity, with excellence, and with creativity. We serve because we care. We care about the future of our young people who are the leaders of tomorrow. We care about the dignity and rights of our seniors who are the pillars of our community. We care about the safety and resilience of our families who are the foundation of our society. We care about the inclusion and the accessibility of persons with disabilities who are the champions of our diversity. Mr. Speaker, today I will highlight the achievements of this ministry during the past 4 years, and I invite you and my honorable colleagues to join me on this journey of reflection, the critically important work that this ministry has either birthed, pruned, or watered, and how the people of Bermuda have been served. Mr. Speaker, let me start with the Independent Living Program, of which the ministry was initially tasked to deliver this initiative in November 2020, Speech from the Throne. The ministry was to fill the void that existed when young people aged out of government's care. In March of 2023, this island was stamped with a transformational moment in history as the first independent living program was officially opened in Bermuda at Garrison's View in St. George. This program offers a secure level of comfort and support to our young persons between the ages of 18 and 24 years aging out of the care of the Director of Child and Family Services. It serves as a lifeline and a safety net for our young people. Mr. Speaker, this year, March 2nd, 2024, marked the anniversary of the opening of the Independent Living Program. There was much to celebrate. During the first calendar quarter, the Level Up program, which is a 2023 Throne Speech initiative, was implemented, providing our young people who are 17 and a half years old with the opportunity to gradually adjust to the realities of adult aging as they approach their 18th birthday. Mr. Speaker, what will always stay close to my heart is the feedback expressed by the residents just this year in the Independent Living Program's Year in Review, which included a satisfaction survey of the residents. They expressed gratitude for the program, and when asked how they felt about being residents of Garrison's View, they responded, "It felt like home." Mr. Speaker, no person in our society should be left behind or feel ostracized because they have a disability. For this reason, the ministry successfully delivered on the government's commitment to develop a formal register of persons with disabilities as promised in the 2021 Speech from the Throne. The establishment of the Bermuda Disability Register is another first time ever for Bermuda. The register is a centralized repository that stores accurate and current data on persons with disabilities. It holds key information about the types of disabilities persons are challenged with, which will identify the gaps in the areas of programs, services, and any special equipment needed for persons with disability. At the launch of the Mobile Disability Register app, persons with disabilities who attended felt valued. This was evidenced by the many hugs and smiles extended to the ministry team and representatives from the many organizations who were present. It was a moving experience on that day. Mr. Speaker, the National Disability Register demonstrates that the government remains committed to persons with disabilities and is preparing the country and its people for when the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities is extended to Bermuda, filling this 2020 Throne Speech initiative. Also, this is a significant milestone in Bermuda's history, which will empower persons with disability through accurate data representation, which is crucial for promoting and encouraging active participation in society. This further aligns with the government's 5-year national plan for adults with intellectual disabilities and their families of 2023 to 2028, which launched in March of 2023. Mr. Speaker, this 5-year national plan for adults with intellectual disabilities is a first for Bermuda. Yes, Mr. Speaker, a third first that this government has delivered on. Additionally, this national plan was transposed into an accessible version, a direct reflection of inclusivity so that persons with intellectual disabilities are involved in the implementation of the national plan. This is transformational. Our community members have reported that they have been waiting and are pleased to see all of the conversations and movements in the disability space in Bermuda. Mr. Speaker, the National ID Plan Steering Committee is a cross-ministry and sector governance committee. It oversees the implementation of action items in the National ID Plan to ensure accountable and coordinated activities by working groups that are committed to keep adults with intellectual disabilities and their families at the center. This includes having representation and input from persons with intellectual disabilities and their families at all levels of the implementation and governance process. The steering committee just met last month in June to strategize execution of the priorities outlined in the plan. Mr. Speaker, in partnership with Safe Lives UK in 2023, the government implemented a multi-agency risk assessment conference, MOROC, model in Bermuda, which brings together key agencies and professionals to better support survivors and hold perpetrators accountable. This initiative was a critical step in the ministry's ongoing efforts to enhance response to domestic violence in Bermuda. The MOROC committee meets every 2 weeks to discuss and collaborate. Mr. Speaker, Bermuda is the first country to implement a MOROC outside of the 270 plus existing conferences across England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. At the heart of MOROC is the working assumption that no single agency or individual can see the complete picture of a victim's life, but all may have insights crucial to their safety. The committee is also developing a 5-year domestic abuse strategy for Bermuda. The government remains committed to ending domestic violence with the establishment of a Bermuda MOROC to safeguard persons. It will also strengthen our commitment to the UK ratification of the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Mr. Speaker, the Bermuda MOROC Committee is soon to recruit a social worker domestic liaison who will be responsible for providing coordinated emotional support, advice, and advocacy for adults and their families who have been impacted by domestic violence. This support will provide referral pathways for victims and those who are harmed. It will also fill a gap in a specialist provision for minoritized groups and demonstrate a focus on intervention. Mr. Speaker, in the 2021 speech from the throne, the government promised that it would strengthen the area of child safeguarding to reduce the harm, abuse, and distress of our children on island. To date, Mr. Speaker, this ministry has worked diligently to implement various measures for child safeguarding to help keep our children protected and place emphasis on the child's voice. These include the amendments made to the Children's Act of 1998 in 2022 to introduce a Children's In-Care Advisory Council. In 2022, the Counseling and Life Skills and Assessment Unit within the Department of Child and Family Services engaged in specialized assessment and treatment training for child victims and child offenders of sexual abuse. The National Child Safeguarding Committee released a National Child Safeguarding Policy in 2023. A litigation guardian framework was structured during 2022 and 2023. In that, litigation guardians were selected, appointed, and trained to represent the child's voice in the courts and provide their professional analysis of what is needed to guarantee the child's safety and well-being. In April of 2024, the Office of Litigation Guardian became fully functional under the remit of the Ministry of Youth and Social Development and Seniors. And in June of 2024, the ministry launched a 4-week of safer internet training supported by the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, which funded consultants to train public and private school students, social workers, school counselors, educational therapists, principals, teachers, Department of Education staff, government ministries, departments, and representatives from the third sector organizations. Several participants reported that the training was both phenomenal and engaging. They appreciated the support and networking opportunity and were excited about the future opportunities to carry on the mantle, to train other persons and share the understanding of safer internet use. Mr. Speaker, let me shift to the present work of the ministry that we've done and are still implementing to support our seniors. As life expectancy in general increases and quality of life improves, the number of our elderly in Bermuda will continue to grow, impacting the services of aging and disability services. Therefore, in 2022, ADS underwent an organization review by Management Consultant Services. Stemming from this review, the staff of ADS was increased by 2 additional social workers and a policy analyst. This reduced the volume of cases for each of the social workers and positioned ADS to provide a more effective level of case management service to meet the needs of Bermuda's growing senior population. ADS has also been complemented with the intervention of a new structured decision-making tool to better service their clients. Mr. Speaker, the people of Bermuda were promised a national senior strategy that would include a strategy for dementia and a prevention plan for senior abuse, two areas of great concern that our seniors face today. The strategy is in draft form and is currently being reviewed by technical officers. We are thankful to our seniors who packed the halls when we held our consultation meetings. The National Senior Strategy now reflects our seniors' comments, feedback, and suggestions, their voices, and is a demonstration of how we can work together collaboratively. At the end of August, the draft National Senior Strategy will be placed on the Bermuda Citizens Forum for greater consultation with the general public. Our vision for strategy is that it reflects an inclusive Bermuda that celebrates and prepares responsibly for aging. The consultation feedback from the public will help make the vision a reality. Mr. Speaker, in October 2023, the ministry funded a 6-month dementia care silence services pilot program. The purpose of this pilot was to provide support and intervention services to persons with dementia and their caregivers while assessing the need and impact of such a program. A total of 50 persons with dementia who were either uninsured or underinsured were provided dementia care services during the pilot along with their carers. Mr. Speaker, a dementia diagnosis can be daunting for the person impacted and their family, so having affordable access to a resource for education, guidance, and support is critical. As a result of the ministry's outcomes obtained during this dementia care pilot, the ministry has extended the pilot for an additional 6 months until November of 2024. The data shows that the need is evident and growing. Feedback from those persons who utilize the service shared this has been an invaluable resource for our family. Moving forward, the ministry is committed to identifying sustainable funding for the provision of dementia care services. Mr. Speaker, in 2022, the ministry, on behalf of the government, entered into a landmark partnership between the United Nations to participate in a joint program building back equal through innovative financing for gender equality and women's empowerment, supported by the United Nations Development Program, the Multi-Country Office in Jamaica, and UN Women Caribbean Office. The program targets women-owned or women-led youth and persons with disabilities, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise in the tourism, agricultural, and creative and cultural industries. UN Women conducted 2 feasibility studies on financing mechanisms for gender equality and on the financial tools and instruments needed by women-owned MSMEs in Bermuda to guide the development of innovative finance products. The outcome of these studies support a BEDC accelerator program for women entrepreneurs that will be implemented by September of 2024. Entrepreneur graduates of this program will have the knowledge and skills to scale up their business for growth and be positioned to pitch their businesses for financial support outside of the traditional banking system. Also, we have offered our businesses and entrepreneurs through partnering with the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation many opportunities for training and building business capacity. Mr. Speaker, in the 2022 speech from the throne, the government promised to further progress the financial assistance reform. Legislative changes were made underscoring the government's commitment to reduce inequality, lend greater support to vulnerable persons, and strengthen social protections for Bermudians. The legislative changes allow clients to retain partial income from work. The changes expanded the eligibility criteria so that families with children have greater access to child daycare allowance and maintenance. And the legislative changes also added new funding schemes so that clients can receive gifts. Clients of financial assistance received increases in allowable expenses for rent, disability allowance, funeral expenses, nursing and rest homes, and benefit increases for electricity, food allowance, eye care exams, podiatry fees, telephone, and water fees. These legislative changes became effective in October of 2023. Mr. Speaker, recently in June of 2024, legislation was passed to support the short-term relief benefits payable to individuals who apply to the Department of Financial Assistance and prove that they are experiencing sudden hardship. For example, if a person has been made redundant from their job or is a victim of domestic violence, that specific individual can apply for the short-term relief benefit and receive for a maximum of 3 months up to $4,500. We recognize that sudden hardship can happen to anyone at any time and for any reason. We also recognize that no one should have to face it alone. This is why the short-term relief benefit was introduced to serve as a lifeline to those who need it the most. This is not a cost. This is an investment in our people, our communities, and our future. This demonstrates the commitment of the government to supporting its people, especially in times of difficulty and distress. Mr. Speaker, I will list the remaining initiatives that the Ministry of Youth, Social Development and Seniors has embarked on during the past years, which include the appointment of a first-time Gender Affairs Council, the establishment of a Homelessness Advisory Panel, a collaboration with the charity Home to execute the plan to end homelessness in Bermuda, transition of the Mirrors program to the Department of Child and Family Services, the National Mini Youth Conferences for primary, middle, and senior school students in support of goals in the National Youth Policy, and biannual meetings held with the third sector and pastoral services for improved relationship building. Mr. Speaker, this ministry has delivered much in a short period of time. We are committed to continue to improve our services, to enhance our policies, and to expand our programs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.